So what happens, what happens when the virus gets into your body? Well, it goes into your blood, and then it looks for the white blood cells, and it nests in the white blood cells, and it finds something in your body called a protease, and it uses the protease to create the babies. And once it does that, it takes over the immune system. And now your immune system is your body's way of knowing that something's wrong, and it's trying to fight like a disease, okay? If you have a cold, you're sneezing. That's your body's way of trying to get rid of the cold. So once your immune system is taken over by the HIV, it's gone, and you can get all sorts of diseases. And those diseases are called opportunistic infections, or any disease. Someone with HIV, AIDS, I know this is not very pleasant, is it? Someone with HIV or AIDS could get a disease. And early on, they identified certain diseases, toxoplasmosis, which we'll talk about a little bit later. They also pneumocystis, which is a form of pneumonia, Kaposi sarcoma. All these are opportunistic infections or anything else. When you have AIDS, your body cannot fight diseases. Is that clear about AIDS and HIV? We could talk about that after, okay? No, the third part is for questions, okay? No problem. The third part is for questions. Since you brought it up, you can get HIV from oral sex. There's only one case ever recorded that someone got HIV from kissing, though. One case in the entire epidemic of HIV. And HIV does not live in the saliva. The only time HIV is in your saliva is if there's blood in your saliva. HIV will die in the saliva unless the saliva is mixed with blood. So if you're bleeding in the mouth, the blood comes in, but eventually, once it goes to the saliva, the blood is going to weaken and the HIV is going to die. But still, if you have blood coming out of your mouth, that blood can enter into the other person's mouth. So it's not really the saliva. So I just want you to be clear of that. So anyway, that's about HIV and AIDS. So now, remember I was telling you, now I'm an actor in the city, and I was not happy. But I started getting all these parts, but I was so angry. I was smoking pot every day, I was drinking, and I felt that the whole world hated me. So I didn't want to do the right things. So I moved to the village, and I started having a lot of sex, because at that time, gay was much more, in 1969, Judy Garland died, okay? Does everyone here know about Judy Garland? No? Who's Judy Garland? She played Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. She died late June 1969. 40 years ago she died, because it's the anniversary. So what happened was that night, excuse me, what was that? Yes, Judy Garland died. She played Dorothy. And she was kind of like an icon among different communities, specifically the gay community. And she died, and a group of gay men and women went to a bar on Christopher Street called Stonewall, right in Sheridan Square. And that night, as the police were accustomed to do, they raided the bar. But this time, the people fought back. So that's the beginning of gay liberation, as it was said. Because then the parade started the next year. And basically, people started to recognize gay people. And in 1972, in the village, being gay was kind of accepted. There were many gay people living there. People were talking about gay. It was in every newspaper all the time about gay liberation. And also, with gay people, there was a lot of clubs in the village that you were able to have anonymous sex. And I would go to those clubs. And get this, what's happening now. In the East Village, the similar types of clubs are now sprouting up. And these clubs are for guys, straight kids, 19 to 20, are going to these clubs, 19 to 25, or I don't know the ages. But young people just out of high school going to these clubs, and they're having anonymous sex like we did in the clubs in the 70s. And that's why the HIV rate and the STD rate is increasing in this country, in this city as well. So anyway, I would have sex anytime I wanted, because you know what? If you think about it, when you have sex, you feel cool, right? It's like a drug. Well, when it's like a drug, it's really cool. You start to forget all your problems. But you know, how long does it last? You know, when you have sex, you're not thinking of what's bothering you, right? You're not thinking, you know what, can you please, okay. You're not thinking of what's bothering you, it goes away. The feelings go away, but it's temporary, just like the drug. When you drink, you feel good for a minute, right? You feel good for a while, or you feel good. What happens when the high goes down? You're sad again. So what you're doing is you're escaping from the problems. So the life lesson I want you to learn from this presentation is to ask for help. That's what I didn't do. I was in so much pain. I hated the whole world, but I did not ask for help. In this school right now, there are tons of people that want to help you, right? Miss Riesbe, other people, if you have a question, you could ask them. And even though you think no one has the answer, they can help you. So basically, I did well. I was acting, I was on Broadway, I did very well. I was in commercials, I was in movies, and I was a model. But by the time I was 25, I lost everything because I was drinking so much. I wasn't taking care of myself. So you know what happened? They warned me, the modeling agency warned me. They told me to comb my hair better. They told me to dye my hair. I never did what I was supposed to do because I was always drunk. And then I was fired. So I went to eventually I lost my apartment. And I was out, and I went back home to Brooklyn, and my parents didn't know what to do with me. So they sent me to Alaska because my brother had a business in Alaska. So I went to work as a janitor. So I went from working as a model to a janitor in Alaska. But all I was doing again was drinking, because why was I doing these things? What was I doing? What should I have done? Ask for help, right? I should have asked for help, but I didn't. And then in Alaska, I eventually got a job as a fisherman, and real cool. I was fishing in Alaska, but I was drinking every night. And one night I got very drunk, and I was in a bar, and I put my hand on this guy's leg, and the next thing I know, 7 guys were chasing me up a hill, and I had 5 ribs broken. Then guess what? I moved from Alaska. I moved to San Francisco. And in San Francisco, I thought I'd get a job right away, but I didn't. I ended up homeless in San Francisco. And you know how I made my living? I prostituted myself. Now, why are these things happening to me? I was smart, I was intelligent. Why are the bad things happening? What was I doing wrong? Wasn't taking care. What should I have done? Ask for help. So that's what I want you to think of, no matter what it is. If you're feeling something, ask for help. There's someone that can help you. Remember that. So then finally I met someone that let me call my dad, and my dad let me come home. And I came home and I got a job right away in Lehman Brothers, and then they sent me to school to become a broker. And it's real cool. Now I'm a broker, but guess what? I wasn't drinking scotch anymore, and I wasn't even smoking pot, but I was drinking beer every night. Within 2 years, I put on 100 pounds, and I had no friends. I'd go to work every day, and then I'd drink the beer, and then at night, I'd pass out, wake up every night. And finally, I went to a doctor in 1982, and he told me if I don't stop drinking, I was going to die. I had problems with my legs. I looked older then than I do now. And so somehow I heard him, and I started to ask for help.